The BBC appears to be the latest media target of President Trump. On Monday, the president filed a defamation lawsuit for $10 billion against the British broadcaster, accusing them of producing a, quote, false, defamatory, deceptive, disparaging, inflammatory, and malicious depiction of President Trump in a documentary that aired just 1 week before the 2024 election.
Similarly to the CBS 60 Minutes lawsuit, the president takes issue with editing choices of the production team. The president alleges that the documentary made it appear that he explicitly urged his supporters to attack the U.S. Capitol building during his January 6, 2021 speech at the Ellipse. He argues that he never said the specific sequence of words that can be heard in the documentary and called it, quote, a brazen attempt to interfere and influence the election's outcome to President Trump's detriment. He even suggested in the Oval Office that the outlet used AI to put words in his mouth. Take a listen.
They put words in my mouth. They had me saying things that I never said coming out. I guess they used AI or something. So we'll be bringing that lawsuit. A lot of people are asking, when are you bringing that lawsuit? Even the media can't believe that one. They actually put terrible words in my mouth having to do with January 6th that I didn't say. They actually have me speaking with words that I never said. And they got caught because I believe somebody at BBC said, this is so bad, it has to be reported. That's called fake news.
Now, while the suit is new, the complaint isn't. BBC Chair Samir Shah recently apologized for the, quote, error in judgment, and both the Director General and the head of news resigned over the documentary. The BBC also apologized and promised not to air the documentary again. But despite the moves by the BBC to make it right, Trump filed the suit anyway, and his allies seem to be behind him. Conservative influencer Nick Sorter, writing on X, bankrupt that fake foreign news rag 47, an example must be set. But some in the British media are pushing back, saying the BBC has done the right thing and the lawsuit is frivolous. Take a look.
The BBC made a mistake. They have apologized. This is completely disproportionate. It did not affect him in any meaningful way. It wasn't even broadcast in America. The defense is pathetic that people could have got a VPN or whatever and seen it. It didn't stand in his way to go forward as president in any way. And it's like when someone has a go at your family, you can say what you want about them. You don't want some authoritarian from overseas having a go at our...
And if somebody else...
Let Brian come in.
But the bilge that comes out of Fox News, but if some Brit was trying to shut it down, that would be equally unacceptable.
Well, that is a strong remark. Look, it was absolutely wrong what they did. It was a glaring mistake. Just as a refresher, it was edited so that it's made it seem like he said in his speech, we're going to walk down the Capitol. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And we fight like hell. That's how it looks in the video. In reality, in the actual speech, he said, we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And then 54 minutes later, he said, and we fight like hell. So by putting those together, it made it sound like we're going to the Capitol and we're going to fight, when the fight part was a rhetorical thing that came an hour later. It was not in connection to the call to walk to the Capitol. That's an important difference.
For sure.
And the editing is too seamless. Like, it's not like there's a clock at the bottom and it says what time this was said, and then it flashes in the next part what time. It looks like it's the same sentence. So they screwed it up massively. There's no question about that. The question is, and the skepticism of the lawsuit comes in, the harm. Because to prove defamation, it can't just be somebody said something wrong about you. It has to be, and this cost you X amount of dollars, or we're going to quantify it in some way. The idea that this was seen by enough people in America to harm his electoral chances is where I think it starts to become a stretch. But there's no question that it was a serious transgression, in my view.
For sure. 2 people lost their jobs, and there was a public apology. I think understanding journalism specifically, one of the things that you learn is when you're editing video journalism, you have to put a big, distinct transition to make sure that people know they're getting from one comment to the next. Otherwise, you are convincing viewers, if you do like some quick blur that looks like it's not really an edit, like you see on podcasts sometimes, that it was one sentence. Because people who turn away might think they said that in a
It was
thought.
not AI,
so
though.
it was not AI, yes.
Things Trump said, just
right.
stitched together to make it look like it was not AI. And people are starting to use AI videos in political ads, things of that nature. Now, I don't think many people are being fooled by it so far, because there's usually a disclaimer saying this is AI, making like Kamala Harris say something she didn't say, or whoever. Gavin Newsom, funny enough, has used it to make fun of Trump. He's put out videos making fun of Trump that are AI, but of course he signed a bill to prohibit those in California, and the court struck it down. Because it's free speech, it's First Amendment.
My bigger thought was kind of what we just saw in the clip that we just played, is that the BBC is a significant broadcaster in Europe. And so even though there is access to the channel in the US, it's not like on the same page as some of our top media news sites, and it didn't even air over here. And so the president's saying that it aired around the election and caused major damage to his campaign in any way, like he would have won in some extreme, like 90% of the vote. It's like over exaggerated. Right. They apologized. People got fired. They apologized back in November. And, you know, this is in the same line of that $15 billion lawsuit that he had against the New York Times that completely got pushed away because it had no merit. People weren't making sense. So, and this is, again, tagging on to all the different people that he sued, including Rupert Murdoch and the Wall Street Journal, because they said that he gave Jeffrey Epstein a birthday card, which it looks very clearly like he did, and they have enough sources as the Wall Street Journal to report. And so it's just like this constant attack on reporters and media. And when people make mistakes and people get fired and own up to it, that should be acceptable, right? There's no path in journalism where you never make a mistake. And whoever called for that mistake, but the buck stopped with the two people that are the head of the company, the Greenlight Documentaries. They both got let go. So what else is he looking for?
Okay, well, you can make an oopsie and still get sued over it. I mean,
I understand.
Consider Rolling Stone magazine when they put out that fake story years ago that I was involved in about a gang sexual assault at the University of Virginia that was fake. They got sued by the dean of students, by the fraternity in its individual capacity and its individual members. It was because it was a really big oopsie on their part, and they got sued.
But the lawsuit is saying that it tried to sway the election results in some way, basically.
Not that it had that effect.
Yeah, that it had that, and that's not, to me, that's not clear. And honestly, I'm not a lawyer, but it's not clear here why it's not.
I agree with you there, but it can't.
So the
still
oopsie,
get sued.
yeah, you can get sued. I'm not saying. I'm just saying he's wasting, again, more time and resources on stuff when you just pointed out in the last segment that a lot of people have Trump fatigue because he's spending time thinking about everyone else, saying disparaging things about an actor that passed away, finding time to sue all these networks, New York Times, BBC, but not actually handling the things at home. And this is not to circle back to say, oh, look at Trump's approval rating. This is to actually be clear that people that put you in position, even the 30 people that said 30% said you could do no wrong with things that you say verbally, are still not feeling comfortable this holiday season because they can't pay a bill. And you're sitting here suing the BBC, which is a British broadcaster. Pay attention to America. I know, but America First means to do your frivolous lawsuits on your own time. America First would mean to focus on America right now, not on British broadcasters that you think disparage you, even though you still won. Like, what are we talking about?
Citizen Donald is fighting for his rights, just like any American.
You know right from wrong, Robbie. I'm not accepting that.
Coming
up, the FBI says it's arrested 4 people who were plotting a New Year's Eve terrorist attack. Don't go anywhere.